Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Snark. I'm Christy.
I'm Sophie, and today we are talking about two iconic, if that's the correct word, I'm not sure, New York City influencers, Halley Kate and Just Jazzy IDK. Those are their TikTok handles. And we are talking about their background, their rise to fame, their podcast, their potential falling out with fellow influencer Carly Weinstein, the Reddit of it all, Hallie's tumultuous relationship with her boyfriend Reed, the Sophia Corte drama, Jazz's marriage with her now husband. There's a lot. So let's just get into it. This is a juicy one.
Let's do it.
Hi, Christy.
Sophie, how's it going?
How's it going? How's it going over here? What's going on?
What's going on? Hey, how's it going? I'm going to go study the outline.
I'm screaming into the mic once again. I'm sorry to everyone's ears. But how are you, Christy?
Well, I mean, here at Snarkbait, we can be very honest. And I felt so validated because Sophie came across a really nice comment of someone saying that they miss kind of our life updates up top. And that meant a lot to me because sometimes I feel like there are certainly people that show up just for the gossip, which we're totally here for. You guys are more than okay to fast forward till the gossip. But some people do want to hear about our life. So my life has been pretty fucking crazy the last couple of hours. And like I said, it's so gratifying to be able to come back to people that make me laugh, like you. Anytime I see a TikTok from you, a text from you, I laugh my ass off, I cackle. We were talking in our Snarkbait group channel with Olivia. She said something today that I was literally like in tears. Something about just being around people that make you laugh is so important in life. And I'm grateful for you today, and Jordan and Olivia and Rachel.
I'm grateful for you too, Christy. Also, I love how the 99% of people that are like, I don't give a fuck about your life updates are like, no one said that. I swear, Gabby commented. So this is for you, Gabby. She goes, quick note, I miss the pre-Snark banter where we just get to hear what's going on in your lives. I know you batch record episodes, so you may be less able to, but it really was a big draw for me and added texture / help me understand who you are. And that is correct. When we batch episodes, we don't really do like, hey, how are yas up top. So we'll work on that. Again, for the 99% of you who don't give a fuck, you are welcome to skip ahead.
And we always have timestamps. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes. We do always have timestamps. But yeah, Christy and I were just bitching about how today we're recording on Tuesday, September 16th. It's been one of those days where like literally everything has gone wrong. Just one of those days. Like everyone at work is yelling at both of us. It feels like Mercury's in retrograde, even though I know it's not. Right?
No, it's not anymore. But that same energy where everyone is on edge, I'm feeling that heavily today on Tuesday, September 16th.
Yeah, it's definitely just one of those days. Oh. But yeah, thank God for my beautiful co-host Christy and the baby Snarks. It is such a mood booster to get to do this and yeah, to make each other laugh. So I guess let's just jump into it. Is that enough life updates for you, Gabby?
Wait,
let us know.
I wanted to just quickly shout out a lovely listener. His name is Han, and he reached out to us via email, and he had like an assignment for school, for university, and he asked to interview someone in like media and entertainment. And so I jumped on like a 30-minute Zoom call with him yesterday, and not to make ourselves sound super important, but again, sometimes we forget that we talk in so many of your ears and we don't realize that there are a lot of people listening. And not to toot our own horn, but it does feel nice to feel like we make some people's hours in their day go by a little bit faster with our stupid gossip. And it was amazing to talk with Han. We talked about what it's like being an Asian in this field, how Snarkbait came to be, what about our show has inspired him to kind of go towards his endeavors towards media and entertainment and journalism. And It's moments like that where it actually does feel like we've created something outside of just a podcast or something that's vapid and shallow, which to be clear, we're all of those things. This podcast is all of those things,
Mm-hmm.
and we can be cheeky and stupid. But I think it's really nice to connect with listeners who say that our show has made an impact on their day to day. Not that we're changing lives by any means, but do you know what I mean? It just, you
Oh,
feel very
we are.
connected.
We are changing. We are doing the most important work in America.
Yeah.
Just kidding, obviously. But thank you so much, Han, for reaching out. I am so sorry I couldn't make it. So I'm glad that Christy was able to connect with you about Snark Bait. And again, so sweet to hear from the baby Snarks and again to know what kind of impact the show has on you, whether it's positive or negative, because I'm sure we annoy the fuck out of a lot of you also.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I annoy myself, to be very
Same.
clear.
Same. No one
Yeah.
is more annoyed by my voice than me, you guys.
Do you
Okay.
remember when we were in LA and my friend still brings us up? She was helping us shoot behind the scenes content. And another one of my friends goes, Sarah, you sound a lot like Sophie. And then Sarah relayed that information to Sophie. She goes, oh, not a compliment.
It's literally not a compliment, you guys. I understand it's not. I don't know how I got into this either. How I got into recording myself on a microphone when I have the world's most annoying voice. I don't know either, you guys. Wait, did you see the comment when we were doing our Tyra impression? Beautiful girl. But is she a model? I think it was on TikTok and someone was like, oh my God, this proves that you can stop with the vocal fry if you just talk like Tyra Banks. I was like, what if I just started talking like beautiful girl, but is she a model?
Your impressions are very, very accurate and spot on and
Oh my God,
fabulous.
I disagree, but thank you.
When you do Austin Butler, it kind of scares me.
Oh, I was like Austin Kroll.
What would Austin, what is Watch What Happens
Austin
to?
Kroll. Oh, for Austin Kroll, they do it's insane right now. Madison, wait, literally. I know.
Well, chicken.
That's Craig. And that I feel like there's no one still listening at this point.
Everyone is.
All of the people that hate when we do our impressions of impressions.
Jordan, in fact, has left the Zoom chat. It's just
She has left the Zoom chat. Also, one last thing on like the updates of it all. I feel like our lives are so boring that we rarely have updates also. It's always like, yeah, today sucked. Work was stressful.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah.
So, but
So,
thankfully,
there's the update.
we're talking about influencers that have very drama-filled lives, and it gives us almost an escape to go down the rabbit hole of Halley Kate and Jaz. I am so excited to go over them because Sophie is pretty much not a historian, but she follows these two. A lot of girls on our team follow these two, and these Halley and Jaz are very divisive, highly talked about influencers on NYC Influencer Snark. So it made sense, of course, that we had to cover them. But admittedly, Sophie, I knew really nothing about these girls until reading these notes.
Well, I'm so excited for you to learn. So you really have no prior thoughts on them prior to reading some of the notes.
Yeah, I knew about the Sophia Corte Reed and Halley Kate drama back in 2023 when that stormed all of Reddit. So I was aware of that, but that is the extent of my knowledge about either Halley or Jaz.
Okay, so this is exciting. I'm excited for this journey for us. I really only discovered Halley and Jaz through Reddit also. I feel like they primarily are TikTok famous more than Instagram famous, I would say. But if you, listener, are unfamiliar with who they are, here's a little background. Halley and Jaz are two best friends based in New York City, and they both blew up on TikTok, like we said, focusing on lifestyle, fashion, beauty. And I feel like before they entered the serious relationships that they are currently in, they were all about like going out in the town, being drunk, flirting with guys. And that was a lot of their content, which I feel like even for someone who has been out of the game for quite some time, that is always entertaining to me. It's like I'm living vicariously through the youth, like reliving my youth, I guess. So that was a big part of their content also. Now their content is really heavily focused on how much money they have. They have both become extremely wealthy and extremely successful through influencing. Just this past year alone, Jaz has bought a house, a boat, a car, paid for a wedding. There's a lot of other stuff that she's bought that's actually crazy. Halley also bought a Hamptons home in the past year. So both of them have succeeded immensely at influencing. They're clearly very good at it. So as for their background, Halley Kate McGuckin is her last name, which is an interesting last name.
Yeah, I think isn't her handle like Halley McG, Halley Kate McG, I think.
On Instagram. On Instagram, it's Halley Kate McG. I believe on TikTok, it's just Halley Kate.
Yeah,
so
Halley
Halley
K.
Kate
McG,
McGuckin was born on July 25th, 2000. So she is currently 25. She grew up in Virginia, but moved to New York at 18 for college. And that's kind of when she started posting. Jasmine Smith, now Kalari, if she ended up taking her husband's last name, which I'm not sure, was born on December 3rd, 1996. So she's 28. And Jaz is originally from Alaska and lived there until she was 18 years old and then moved to Arizona for college. And she dropped out of college after a semester to do real estate. And she worked for a bit in real estate and made some money doing that, but then was laid off in 2020 during the pandemic. And that is when she started posting on TikTok. And yeah, they're kind of part of that core NYC influencer group. And by that, I mean the real head honchos of NYC influencer Snark. There's Kit Keenan. There is Lauren Wolf. There are the Acquired twins. There's Carly Weinstein, etc., just to name a few. And what's interesting about both of them, and I think that a big reason why they have found so much success and have become so popular with their fans is because neither of them seem to come from significant wealth. Yes. It's unclear exactly what their parents' financial status was growing up. Like, we don't have their tax returns, but like they both seem like they grew up relatively normal. So unlike, Kit Keenan or Serena Kerrigan or whoever it is in the NYC influencer crew, they are not Nepo babies or people who come from, significant wealth. It seems like they actually did really like hustle their way to the top. Okay, so in terms of Halley, let's focus on her for a second. She first went viral after sharing a clip showing a man being tased and arrested for masturbating in front of her and her friends in a Starbucks she was in. And that incident was like very disturbing, obviously, and captured massive attention. And mainstream news outlets were reporting on the case. Basically, she told the story about how this man followed her and her friends into a Miami Starbucks and began masturbating before being apprehended. Did you ever watch this TikTok?
Yes. And I also remember how I know Halley Kate as well, because she was one of the victims of that man that was running around New York City
punching people.
Yeah.
Right?
So she's kind of been through a lot publicly.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my God, like poor girl. Yeah. So that masturbation incident happened spring break of 2022. And then when she got punched in the face, I believe that was last year. I think it was 2024.
Yeah, that was really scary because women would be scared to even walk home from work because some guy would just come up to them and punch them in the face.
Terrifying. Poor girl. Traumatic. So horrible. So another reason that Halley gained a following is because she would post some of like the crazy outfits she wore in high school, like to school. Like in high school, did you go to a private school?
No.
Okay, so you didn't wear like a uniform. You could like,
no.
express yourself through fashion.
But I'm not fashionable, so no, I look like crap.
So she was one of those
Sophie
people.
Ross.
No, oh my God, I wore like Ugg boots and leggings to school every day. It's actually crazy, side note, that we had to be at school at 7 a.m.
I think they've since switched that. Not all districts, obviously, but a lot of people or school districts are saying that kids that age need a lot of sleep to grow healthy brains and whatever. So they start school later now, apparently.
That makes sense. Also because like when has a job? It's like we want to prepare you for the real world. No job starts at 7. I mean, some do. I'm sorry. That maybe was ignorant of me to say, but it's called a 9 to 5 for a reason.
Yeah.
It usually starts around 9, not 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So when I would leave for school, it was literally like pitch black out. Our first bell, like our first period, started at 7:20 a.m.
7:20?
Literally, I'm not exaggerating. 7:20 a.m. was our first period.
Okay, we had 0 period, and that's when kids would come to school at like 7, but that was an optional period.
Why would people like choose to do that?
Because they were overachievers and they wanted to like graduate early and get in more AP classes. Like, I don't know. Or they had sports.
Ew.
Yeah. Really weird now that I think about it.
But Hallie was one of those girls that would wear like stilettos to school and like the sky tops and the skinny jeans. Like she like was doing the whole Real Housewife of Orange County like look to school every day. And those videos are really funny because it's like, why were you wearing that to school? She also would post like thrifting hauls and stuff like that. And so people liked her for her fashion content also. So she went viral for the masturbation incident that unfortunately happened, but she also was organically growing a following from just putting out tons of fashion content that people really enjoyed. And she also has this really like, she has this like fun, funny, bubbly personality. She's like a natural when it comes to talking to the camera. She's good at it. So makes sense why she became so successful.
I will say that finding creators on TikTok that can so effortlessly speak to the camera as if you're talking to a friend, it's truly an art form. When I try and do it, it's so difficult. And these influencers make it look so simple. And it
Oh my
really
God.
is so difficult.
100%. 100%. And it's like the day in my life or like get ready with me. I'm like, oh my God, imagine all the editing.
Yeah.
It's like the editing, the talking to the camera. Those are all skills. We've said it before. Like being an influencer is not as easy as I feel like people make it seem.
Oh my God. It's so hard, but in a completely different way than your 9 to 5 job is. But it doesn't mean it's any less work. It's probably more work and you're never off the clock.
Yeah, they just make exorbitant amounts of money for what seems like not a lot of work. And yes, do I wish that healthcare workers and teachers could make as much as influencers? Absolutely. But like, I understand the criticism, but I will say that like the really, really, really successful influencers definitely put in a ton of work.
Yeah.
So in terms of Jaz, there wasn't one moment that really made her go viral. Her earliest videos on TikTok are from 2020. So again, right around the time she got laid off. And I know that she was pretty successful at real estate, which is how she started to kind of fund her lifestyle and fund those hauls on TikTok. She made decent money before she got laid off. But she just started posting consistently. And again, kind of took off and also becoming close with Halley. I feel like it's like a celebrity, relationship, it's good for both people. What's like a recent like PR pairing that we talked about?
Jacob Elordi and Olivia Jade and
Glenn Powell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
it's
always
like
stronger in a pair.
Exactly. So it makes sense.
Look at us. I mean,
yeah.
Perfect examples of that.
Now let's take a quick break to talk about our sponsors. It's finally fall, and as much as I love sweater weather and crispy leaves, this is the time where my skin really starts drying out and acting up. And that's why I'm so thankful for OneSkin's Skin Longevity Moisturizer. It's so deeply hydrating. It's like giving my skin a tall glass of water. It's like giving my skin a glass of Jacob Elordi. For daytime, I love their face SPF also. That's my next step after moisturizer before I apply my makeup. And for nighttime, I always like to go to bed looking like a glazed donut and lather it on. And I also swear by their eye cream. It's great for 30-somethings like myself. Now that we're getting those little fine under eye lines, but obviously it's never too early or too late to find a great eye cream. At OneSkin's core is their planted OSON peptide. It's the first ingredient proven to target senescent cells, the root cause of nefarious wrinkles, crepiness, and loss of elasticity, all key signs of skin aging, with results validated in 5 published clinical studies. That might be why they count so many ageless celebrities like Jennifer Aniston and Katy Perry as fans. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. For a limited time, you can try OneSkin for 15% off using code SNARK at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code SNARK. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Give your skin the scientifically proven gentle care it deserves with OneSkin. So they had a third, and her name was Carly Weinstein. It was the 3 of them. It was Halley, Jaz, and Carly. They seemed to be best friends. They would go to Carly's parents' house in New Jersey all the time, and they just became friends through influencing and through the internet. And I think that's a really beautiful thing about the internet also. Like, we only know each other through the internet. We would have never crossed paths if the internet didn't exist. So it's like, as much as I hate social media sometimes and like think it's ruining my mental health, I have met so many amazing people through the internet and made so many friends from the internet. Like, I just think it's a really beautiful thing. So
My whole life has changed since the pandemic through the internet.
yeah,
Like the people I have in my life, it's completely different because of what Instagram and podcasting has
yeah.
been able to give to me. So
If only we started dancing on TikTok instead of like podcasting during 2020.
you don't want to see my ass dance, to be very clear.
Like, I could be a multimillionaire by now if I had just,
Yeah.
shimmied on the camera.
Shit.
Shimmied on the camera. Like, what am I even saying? Okay, so Carly, Halley, and Jaz started a podcast together. So this is when they were all over New York, all over the influencer scene together. It was called Hot Girl Talks. They would talk about just anything and everything. They would talk about dating, sex. They were all 3 single at the time. And a lot of people felt like Halley and Jaz were clearly kind of like mean to Carly and that she was the odd one out. And 3-person friend groups are hard. Like, it always does seem like there's probably going to be the third person is going to be like kind of the third wheel, that 2 people are always going to be closer. In this case, it was very obvious that Halley and Jaz were closer, and that has remained true to this day. What are your experiences with like dynamics like that?
3-person friend groups are always very tricky to navigate because there's always a twosome and a onesome, and someone always ends up feeling like they're left out. And there's always a dynamic where you feel closer to one person than the other. It's very tricky.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And there's one episode, for example, where Halley and Jaz just like announced that they were moving to Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, what was that about?
They
never did, by the way.
It didn't end up happening, but they just like decided they were going to move to Tampa. And Carly responded and said, Tampa's trash. You should move to Boca. That's where my grandparents live. The vibe there is better, blah, blah, blah. They're very different, by the way, as someone. You've been to Florida, right?
Only Miami.
I feel
yeah.
I feel like for some reason, like California, it's like if you have California, just like you don't need Florida. Florida is like, that's where people on the East Coast go to get like sunshine and beaches.
Yeah.
It's like you have California, you don't need it.
I feel like East Coasters go to Florida for sun. We go to Hawaii. Like, I think that's how it.
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that tracks. But Tampa and Boca / Miami, like the eastern coast of Florida, could not be more different. They're extremely, extremely different. So weird that Halley and Jaz were like, we're going to move to Tampa. Like, what?
I know. I get maybe Palm Beach or Miami, but Tampa?
Right. So I feel like it was less than a year later, I want to say, in late 2023, Carly confirmed the end of Hot Girl Talks. And in a Bustle article that she was interviewed for, Carly said that she had met the girls and they became fast friends. But she said, anyone knows that when you have a friend group, content just performs well. I saw it as a really good opportunity. But a year in, it was just becoming apparent to me that I shouldn't mix my work and personal stuff. So alluding to the fact that there was some drama behind the scenes with the three of them.
I get this so much. I feel like you and I effortlessly, and I'm not just saying this because
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to you right now. Our dynamic is so easy. Like it couldn't
Mm-hmm.
be easier, genuinely, because of the way that we work and the way that our
Yeah.
brains work. It complements each other literally 100% of the time. I cannot imagine having a person whose vibe you don't really mesh with all the time, or you're
Mm-hmm.
feeling threatened because they seem to be closer with the other person and you're feeling excluded. And then maybe on top of that, already feeling excluded, maybe you feel like your guys' work ethic is not aligned. That's just a
Mm-hmm.
recipe for disaster. And I feel like that's what happened with Call Her Daddy.
Oh,
Um,
totally,
yeah,
totally. And like when you work with someone, like we are business partners at this point. Like we talk every single day, pretty much all day. If we didn't get along, or if there was, like you said, like a difference in work ethics or a difference in values, or like one of us got annoyed with the other person, like
mhm,
personality clashes, like this would not work.
yeah.
It literally
It
would
would
not
be a
work.
sinking ship. Like it would just,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And there's also like an inherent trust there. Like when Christy, I forget when you were trying to book us like face gym facials. I think
Oh,
when we did our photo shoot for our cover art in LA, and I literally sent Christy like a picture of the front and back of my credit card so she could
it's
book it on my
so,
credit card because hers wasn't working. And it's like you have to
yeah.
really trust someone to do that.
Sophie goes, imagine if I had landed at LAX. Our entire bank account's wiped. You
And I never
blocked
hear
me.
from her again. Yeah, I was like, Christy, I was like, watch her literally like disappear, block me and everything, and our bank account is drained. Like that
I
could
was just
happen.
fucking dying. Like, Chrissy blocks me on everything.
Disappears off the face of the earth.
All my Instagrams are deleted, the snark bait included.
And Shannon fluently forward like blocks me also. I'm like, Shannon, what happened to Christy?
Can't find her. She blocks you too.
But like there has to be more of the story is there has to be like an inherent trust there. Like I obviously knew Chris wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
In the back of my mind, I was like, what if she did? But no.
Yeah, I'm still dying at the fact you land, you can't get a hold of me, and our bank accounts.
And I'm stranded in like at the Orange County airport.
I
I'm like, what
know.
is this place? The linoleum floors.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I do not envy this dynamic at all. And I'm happy that, once Jazz got engaged, Carly ended up attending the wedding. It seems like they're still on fine terms, but not nearly as close as they once were.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, Carly was at Jazz's wedding, not a bridesmaid. Halley was maid of honor. But Carly, for her part, said, I want to focus on other things. I want to write a book. I want to do motivational speaking. She's been very open about her battles with eating disorder and body dysmorphia. So that's a lot of her content also. And she, I think, now just started grad school. She is now getting her master's in social work
Oh,
from
cool.
Fordham, I believe, in New York City.
Awesome. Good
Uh,
for her.
yeah, good for her. It's funny when it comes to grad school, I'm like, I never like know what grad school. I'm like, is it
Great.
master's? Is it
PhD,
PhD? Business school? Like,
PharmD,
I don't
MD,
know. They're
JD.
all when someone tells me they're going to grad school, I picture like the exact same thing. I'm just like, okay, grad school. It's like one amorphous like thing, you know?
Sophie and I never pursued higher education,
Clearly
clearly.
not. Clearly not. But very impressed by everyone who does. Honestly, it's
Yes.
like good for her. I feel like Carly, and we will talk about the Reddit of it all because I feel like Reddit has had a huge effect on all of their careers. I feel like Carly receives a disproportionate amount of hate on Reddit. I
Mm.
feel like people are very mean about her body. They will say she
Oh.
always picks. I feel like on the Snark Reddits, I feel like they try to put rules in place, no body shaming. But I feel like there are certain ways that people bypass that rule by saying this outfit is so unflattering on her. And it's like,
Oh
well,
my
if she had
God.
the right body type in your eyes, you would think this outfit was a sleigh. It's like I feel like she could never win, and people are just really mean about her looks and her appearance on Reddit.
That's so fucked up knowing what she's been through.
Yeah. So
Oh my God. I hate that actually.
and again, I feel like that's next. We need to touch on the Reddit of it all. But without Carly, Halley and Jaz launched their new podcast, Delusional Diaries, in December of 2023. So it went from 3 to 2. They rebranded. Um, and yeah, like I said, there was some buzz when Jaz got engaged. is Carly going to be a bridesmaid? They used to be best friends. And she was not, but she was still at the wedding. And like I said, Halley was maid of honor.
And it just happened in May 2025.
Yeah, it just happened a few months ago. So now for the Reddit of it all. And like I said, Halley, Jaz, and Carly, I really only became familiar with through Reddit.
Sure.
Do you remember the man nips era of NYC influencer Snark?
The only reason I know about man nips is because Jenna, shout out to Jenna, our old social manager, she out of nowhere goes, have you ever heard of the man nips era? And I just started cracking up. She's like, I'm too online, just forget it. Like, I don't want to talk about it. But then I read into it. I was like, oh my God, this is so juicy. This is, I feel, when Reddit was really starting to like kick off. Like Reddit was on fire. Like everyone, Reddit started becoming a thing for me in the Bachelor franchise, like in 2018 when I was obsessed with the show. But then I slowly moved over to the influencer subreddits and primarily Lames and Shannon, who just shout out to them, had their baby, Daisy. So happy for them.
Oh, great. Yeah, I saw that. Congratulations, Shannon and Lames.
Yeah. Lames, he wants to be a fit dad for his, I can't even do the accent, but good for them. I'm really
He's
happy.
Going to be, I know that Lames is going to be talking about like his postpartum experience.
No, so many people DM me like, oh my God, like Shannon and Lames had their kid. He's off talking about how he needs to be the healthiest version of himself, which fair, but he also had to add like fit, which come on, give me a break. No one cares if you're a fit dad. Just be healthy for your kid, you know?
Also, he's British, so he's fit means like hot.
Yes.
It's like, I want to be like a hot dad. Like, shut the fuck up. This isn't about you. Your wife gave birth 5 seconds ago. Why are you talking about your bounce back body? Like, oh my God, I hate him.
No, me too. No, literally.
But that's really interesting. I love hearing about how people got into Reddit. For me, it was Caroline Calloway's subreddit, Small Bean Snark. Did you ever explore the Caroline Calloway of it all?
When I tell you, two people I will not mention who have met many famous people, like I'm talking A-list, A-list, A-list. When I ask them, if you can meet any celebrity that you haven't already met, who would it be? Caroline Calloway. Like people are obsessed.
That's really alarming. I'm not even going to say it. I'm sorry. I can't even we've talked about doing a Caroline Calloway episode. It would have to be 10 parts. Like there is so much lore and so much about her life that is just so insane. But I used to have kind of a hyperfixation on her like messiness. And when I first discovered her, it was because of a scam. The scamming of it all. Like she is just such a crazy scammer.
Is she not the ukulele girl, is she?
That's ukulele? I don't know. I don't think so. I think, you're thinking of Miranda Sings, Colleen Ballinger.
Yes, thank you. That's what it is.
No, very different. So
it's the C's, Caroline Calloway, Colleen Ballinger. Yeah.
So I remember Small Bean Snark. It still exists, by the way, but I just have completely checked out. She's impossible to even I just don't even care anymore. But Caroline Calloway, and then I remember there was Tink Snark. And so I remember I was following Tink Snark because I was very fascinated by, Tinks and everything that has happened with her and her rise and her career. And then I remember when Tink Snark, someone threw out the idea of doing a Serena Kerrigan subreddit. And I was there. I was like, oh, I love that idea. Serena Kerrigan is my BEC.
Yeah.
You guys know that.
Right.
And then next thing I know, it was NYC Influencer Snark was created.
Yeah. It spiraled from there. Yeah.
I feel like I was there day one. Moral of the story is that I was in NYC Influencer Snark boots on the ground day one, which is really embarrassing. I'm not even trying to brag. I'm embarrassed by that.
No, but that's why we have this show. It's because we were liking the same subreddits.
Extremely online.
Yeah.
So a user on NYC Influencer Snark called I Love Man Nipples became nicknamed Man Nips on the sub, began posting incessantly about Halley, Jaz, and Carly. And it's really how a lot of people found out about them, including myself. And they would body shame them a lot and call them really mean names. They called Halley Moonface. They called Carly Stumpy, not a blonde. Like,
Also,
very mean.
yeah, horrible. And Halley has since gotten chin liposuction
Yeah.
because probably being teased. Like if I were in her position, I would have done that too. It's horrible. People cannot help
Yeah.
what they look like. I mean, yeah, you could go through cosmetic enhancements or procedures, but that's fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you can't help the face that you are born with.
Right.
And Hallie actually, when she had clearly seen this person on Reddit calling her moon face, and when she did get chin lipo, she was very. One thing about Hallie is that she is very, very, very transparent for the most
Right.
part about her procedures, and she was very transparent about it. And she was like, "You guys are gonna hate me for getting chin lipo, but then you're gonna call me moon face. Like I cannot win." And she's right. She's
Yeah.
absolutely right.
No,
And I know
totally
that
love that she said that, by the way.
yeah, and Carly also was very open about seeing, the Reddit threads about being called stumpy. And as someone who has struggled with disordered eating, I'm sure that was very hard for her. And at first, people thought that Man Nips was really funny, but then they noticed that they started making like racist comments towards Jazz that
Hmm.
people started to notice,
Yeah.
saying that she was a self-hating black girl and she would never date a black guy. They don't know why people stan her. And they just became like very, very, very overly obsessed, clearly. And people don't really know exactly who Man Nips is to this day. They saw, some of the pictures that they posted that clearly was literally a man's nipples. Like it was a
Yeah.
guy. It was a guy behind the account, possibly a gay guy. That's just pure speculation because he had posted some pictures of himself on other Reddit communities.
I think that kind of brings up a good discussion point on. I mean, listen, we have a podcast about snark culture. I'm not saying we're above it. I think there are certain people on these subreddits that take it too far and they
Hmm.
become so embedded into the community. Like I know specific people, whether they're mods or just users on the subreddit that are so active that are posting there every hour sometimes. And it becomes this like, it's beyond parasocial. It becomes almost this obsession. And I think I'm not judging them. Like they might have a lot of other stuff going on where they're feeling this is the right way to behave, but it,
Hmm.
it does kind of cross a line of when is it appropriate to like kind of scroll through the Reddit snark and laugh at some of the comments and then be active, every hour on the hour, every single day. It's becomes a little weird.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's like we're not above it. I'm not acting like
No,
we're above it,
I mean,
but I
listen, we
think
have a podcast about it.
yeah, exactly. But I definitely agree that some people take it a little too far, especially with, like I said, the body shaming, appearance-based snark is just like never okay. And I feel like that's why I kind of pulled back from snark subreddits a little bit because I started to internalize some of the body and appearance snark I was seeing. I was like, this isn't like healthy for me anymore. I mean, it never was healthy, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But like it was fun at one point. And then I was like, I'm starting to internalize just some of this snark, even if it wasn't about me, but like I
Yeah.
would see some of this appearance based stuff that I would be like, wow, do I look like that? Like, is that what people think about my appearance? Like, I don't know. So I think that that's something that I feel like Carly, Hallie, and Jaz have all dealt with a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's probably impacting our brains more than we actually understand
Mhm.
consciously. But same with the Shannon Ford subreddit. Those people are some of the funniest people. I'm not shading anyone on that subreddit. It's more so Lame's got me so angry at times. I'm like, I can't be on this anymore because he pisses
Yeah.
me off. Pisses me
Yeah.
off so much. Lames.
And if hate watching and hate following is getting to a point where you're like, "Oh my God, I'm so mad. I hate this person." That's
Hmm.
not healthy.
Yeah.
I hate follow and hate watch people and like it's still funny for me. Like it's still fun.
Yeah.
I'm not at the point where I'm like, "I fucking hate this person."
Yeah.
Like that I feel like sometimes it crosses a line into like actual hatred and it's like, "Okay, then maybe like block them so you don't see their content, you know?"
Right.
Anyway, okay, so back to Hallie. Hallie was famously single and had talked about, she'd actually been very open about the fact that she had never had a boyfriend, which is actually, I feel like people really related to and thought it was really refreshing because she is a conventionally attractive, pretty, thin, blonde girl. It's like, you've never had a boyfriend. Oh my God. But she suddenly starts dating this guy named Reed in early 2023. And, he always looked very bored in her content, but I think that's just his face. They broke up in November 2023. And Halley was very open about the fact that he dumped her. And she filmed a whole video crying. And again, this is why I know that we talked about her on last week's Dark Energy Tuesday about how she, was posting this hospital content.
Yeah.
And then like yelling at her followers for asking questions about it, which is entirely her right to not disclose her health issues.
Yeah.
But for the most part, she's always been just super, super, super candid with her followers, which is why her followers love her. They have a very parasocial relationship with her. And they see her as a friend. Like all of these really successful TikTokers who talk to the camera, they foster this very tight-knit, close relationship with their followers, which sounds crazy, but it's true. But yeah, so she, posted this video of her crying and said basically, he broke up with her. She said, I share what's going on with my life and I owe it to all the other heartbroken girlies. This is me and my experience and has nothing to do with him. I have so much love for him and he's such a good person. But he basically came over and said, it's not you, it's me. You're not my person. I don't see this being forever. You're not the love of my life. Whatever, that classic, breakup speech.
She also said in this TikTok, she said, I felt so pathetic because at one point I was literally like begging for him to stay. I never thought I would be that girl. And which is to some degree such a level of vulnerability that so many people would never admit to, which I can fully appreciate and respect that she was laying it all out on the line. Some people may view that as quote unquote pathetic. I think it's her being very like vulnerable and relatable.
Totally. Exactly. Yeah, she said that she was like fighting for him to stay, which again, very relatable and, vulnerable of her to admit.
Yeah.
So they broke up. Halley is clearly pretty heartbroken over it. And again, that's her first boyfriend, like her first love.
Devastating.
So devastating. I literally wouldn't wish that feeling on my worst enemy. As someone who's gone through heartbreak, like not even my first love, but like someone that I was in love with who dumped me, like that kind of heartbreak is so like people ask like, what's worse, being the one who breaks up with someone or the person who gets dumped? I've been both. Getting dumped fucking sucks.
It does. It does.
It sucks so much. Okay, so soon after the breakup, someone in Reddit posted that they saw Reed on a date with fellow New York City influencer Sophia LaCourte. And this was right after Sophia and Halley were photographed at the same influencer event. And yeah, they were spotted at the Ludlow Hotel, getting all close. Yeah, and it was
Is
like
the Ludlow Hotel, by the way, a place to be seen? Because that's the way Jaz and Halley made it seem on their podcast episode when they were discussing this whole debacle and scandal.
I mean, the Ludlow Hotel is, I would say, it's like a trendy downtown hotel bar. There are just so many bars in New York. It's not like, oh my God, I'm gonna be like seen here. This is the place to be and see and be seen. Like,
sure,
there are so many bars, but like, yeah, they're out in public together. They clearly didn't care that much. So people were skeptical at first, but then Reddit users noticed that Reed and Sophia had started following each other on Instagram.
And by the way, I was watching a podcast episode of Halley and Jaz recapping this whole thing, and Halley was getting flooded with DMs from multiple people saying, we saw Reed with Sophia LaCourte last night. Watch your back, basically. And Halley said, I thought it was just a rumor. I thought someone posted it on Reddit, and then everyone else saw that Reddit comment and came to me. She's like, I didn't put that much weight into it. And I guess she had gone to a Rumble boxing class. And when she was in the class, Jaz looked on Instagram on her best friend's behalf, which is like totally something I would do for my best friend, and noticed that Reed and Sophia were now mutually following one another. So the second that Halley got out of the Rumble boxing class, Jaz had to break the news to her, like, the Reddit users and these commenters and these DMers are real. Real. Like, this is a real thing.
Yeah. And Halley also said that she at this influencer event with Sophia. So she, like you said, recorded a podcast episode with Jaz addressing these rumors and basically said, yeah, it's true. I was at an influencer event with Sophia. I was talking about how heartbroken I was. And she DM'd him literally at the influencer event saying, when's our first date? She said, hi. He said, hi. She goes, when's our first date? And he goes, pretty bold of you. I'm out of the city this week for the holiday. If you want to give me your number, I'd love to get dinner when I'm back. And then she sends her number and goes, can't wait.
Halley later debunked that theory. She was under the impression that Sophia had reached out to Reed when they were together that Thursday night at the influencer event. Turns out Sophia had actually DM'd Reed the day before the influencer event.
Oh, before. That's even worse.
Which is even worse because then basically what Halley was saying was, okay, so you went out of your way to DM your boyfriend upon finding out that he and I had broken up.
Yep.
Went to my followers list. It's not like Reed is some public figure, right? He is some random private person that Halley dated that she posted to her Instagrams and TikToks. And Halley even recalled a moment back when Halley and Reed first went hard launched their relationship on TikTok. Sophia LaCourte commented on the TikTok and was like, oh my God, I love cauliflower ears. Like guys who learn wrestling. So like she knew this guy was Halley's guy.
Reed has cauliflower ear for context. But yeah, she had previously posted that she loves guys with cauliflower ear. So she clearly was like ready to pounce as soon as they were broken up.
Yeah. So that's why Halley felt so betrayed because she's like, you were hanging out with me at that influencer event. Yeah. A mere 24 hours after you had gone out of your way to DM my ex-boyfriend, hung out with me, we took shots. And then I found out you go on a date the very next night on Friday.
Yeah, exactly. And again, like Halley had said, we were like friendly. They had also been on like an out of town brand trip together. And as someone who's been on not that many, I've been on when I used to work in media, I had been on like a few random like press trips, like nothing crazy or international. But you become really close with everyone on the trip because you do everything together. Like you go every dinner for an entire like long weekend. It'll be like dinners and events and just everything.
Yeah, it's like summer camp, literally. Yeah. But all paid for.
Yeah. So they were on one of those trips together. They were at this New York City like influencer party. And Halley said, you know, we were friends. Like Sophia even like left her stuff at my apartment. Like, and Sophia debunked all of this and said, we are not friends. We were never friends. I barely knew her. And I'd only met her briefly at influencer events and blah, blah, blah. Basically said they were acquaintances at best. And Halley trying to frame it any differently was a lie, according to Sophia. And also Halley showed the text where she was texting Sophia being like, hey, is this true? And Sophia just like wasn't answering her. And then Halley posted again on TikTok and goes, ladies, let me be your lesson. Never feel sorry for a man or defend him because not even 3 weeks after dumping you out of the blue, after you try to protect him, he will go on a date with someone you considered a friend and were with the night before buying shots for. Her bag is literally sitting in my closet because we dropped it at my apartment before going to the bar together. Then he will scream at you telling you he's not sorry and did nothing wrong when she went through my following and DM'd him on Instagram while standing next to me. And he said, isn't it bold that you're asking me on a date considering Halley? But he went anyways.
Okay, I need to know your thoughts on this because hearing both their sides of the stories, it's very clear that they were just acquaintances running in the same circles because of their jobs. To me, I feel like Halley was totally within her right to at least have an answer directly from Sophia LaCourte's mouth. The fact that Halley reached out to Sophia and asked point blank, did you or did you not go out on a date with Reed last night? And Sophia didn't even so much as respond to her. That's fucked up. You don't need to be someone's best friend to owe them any allegiance. Like, I'm not saying what Sophia did was necessarily wrong, like on its own, but have the decency to own it then if someone's asking you the question. And that's where I think Sophia went wrong. Own it, Lisa.
Yeah. And also, like, it doesn't matter if they were friends or acquaintances. They were in the same influencer circle. They were at these events together. They had mutual friends. They were on this brand trip together. Maybe they were just acquaintances. That doesn't make it okay. Like, if I publicly was like, oh my God, what if I posted crying on TikTok and I was like, Henry and I are getting divorced? And then I found out that another like pop culture podcaster that I have mutual friends with immediately DM'd Henry.
Jail.
Exactly. It's like, it doesn't matter how close I am with that person, that they only know who he is because of me.
No, I'd be knocking on their door, to be very clear.
Yeah. And Jaz basically was like, in mama bear mode and was posted, she might be on decent terms with you, but please know I'm not, with my full chest, with like flipping the bird. Flipping the
Love.
bird. Do people still say that? Giving a middle finger to the camera.
I'm
Um,
sorry too. This is like so shallow of me, but if I were Hallie, and I think Sophia's, everyone's pretty in this. Hallie, Jaz, Sophia, everyone's
yeah,
gorgeous. Sophia is so fucking pretty to me. I'd be like, I want to, no, this is my 13th reason. Like, this is devastating.
she is very pretty, but so is Hallie, so is Jazz.
They
Like
all are. They're
they're
stunning
they're all
girls.
they're all pretty. So it's like, yeah, but Sophia is very beautiful. She has gotten some flack recently for reposting very problematic things on TikTok. I won't get into that because this episode isn't about her. But anyway, you would think that Hallie would be too embarrassed to ever get back together with Reed, but no. In April 2024, 5 months after this debacle, Hallie posted TikTok with Reed confirming they're back together. Uh, Begins to slowly work him back into her content. Obviously, gets a lot of flack for this. And she looks pretty silly for taking it back after all of that. Uh, Later that summer, Hallie and Jaz recorded a podcast with Kevin and Reed and almost immediately deleted it due to backlash, because the overall consensus kind of was that uh Reed just seemed very uninterested
I
in
can't.
Hallie. Like he seemed very rude. It was just extremely, extremely awkward. And it seemed like Hallie and Jaz were kind of like, you know, picking on him a little bit in return. And then he was starting to shut down. It was like extremely awkward.
Oh God, I hate that. That makes my stomach turn. And this is why it's so hard, because being a public figure slash influencer like they are, having a relationship does boost your numbers. Like that's just what it is.
Hmm.
But to also have the pressure to stay in a couple because it brings you more money and more clicks and more views, like that's another type of pressure on top of the already existing pressures that society has on women to stay in relationships. Like this is I do not envy Hallie in this situation. This is tough. And to feel like you have
No.
to watch your relationship play back on a podcast episode and have everyone have a comment about how your boyfriend seems totally disinterested in you.
Yeah.
No, thank you. That's my kind of hell.
Yeah, exactly. And then very soon after this, Sophia, hmm, just there are some screws loose. She is what's a good like idiom for having some screws loose?
She doesn't
Um,
give a fuck. Like she is willing to like lean into this and be the villain
yeah.
almost.
She wants to be the villain because it gives her clout and attention, I think. But basically she makes a video. This is after Hallie and Reed get back together, gushing about how much of a gentleman Reed was and how talkative he was with her and how interested he was in her. Basically saying clearly he liked me more than you because he's so disinterested in you on this podcast. Um, oh my God. It was just like bizarre and so weird. She ended up making a series and again, like kind of leaning into it, showing more screenshots. And just kind of rubbing it in Hallie's face. And Hallie, for her part, I thought it actually was very admirable that she basically stayed silent and let Sophia spiral and embarrass herself.
Something also that I found very funny was watching Sophia LaCourte's three-part series. She posted a screenshot of the convo she and Reed were having and the minimal effort that he put into these text messages. First of all, I always find it to be an incredibly large red flag. At least when I was younger and I lived in a city where you could walk everywhere. If a man had you on a first date meet you close to his place, I just that could be
Yeah.
like old fashioned to me, but I just find it
No.
to be so tacky.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not saying every
I
guy that does that
agree.
is a bad person, but like I just don't like that. And in Reed's text message, he specifically asks Sophia, meet me outside my apartment at 8 p.m. and we'll go whatever here. Minimal effort, very dry texter. Just what is the buzz about him? Like he's really nothing to sneeze about.
I know he's really not. Like they are both way prettier than he is.
Oh my God,
Um,
yeah.
Out of his league. Another thing is that Sophia kept calling her Haley in the videos, like mispronouncing her name on purpose, which is just like so rude.
Yeah, that's rude. That's just like, come on, you know how to say it. You're just going out of your way to be an asshole.
Exactly. Like she just like is an asshole. After Brianna Chicken Fry actually came out about Zach Bryan treating her, wronging her, and how he treated her at the end of their relationship, she went out of her way to like retweet videos or repost videos about Brianna gushing about Zach. Like, there's something very pathological about her, if that
Well,
makes sense.
I did notice that she did do that, like almost rubbing in Brianna Chicken Fry's face. You and Zach aren't here anymore, but here I am reposting all your TikToks. But what I found to be even more strange is when the Halley and Sophia thing was going off, Brianna kind of took Sophia's side. There was a clip that Sophia put in her TikTok videos, like a response video, and Brianna was basically saying, "Why do you guys give a fuck? Like, this man was single. Everyone in this situation was single. So Sophia did
Mhm.
nothing wrong." And Sophia was like, yes, like correct. It's like, dude, this girl stood up for you at one point, and here you are negging her about this relationship she's no longer in. It's weird.
So bizarre. Also, so this became like such a fucking like big thing on podcasts and in the
Everywhere.
media. Like it actually like extended beyond TikTok.
Agreed.
Um, Ken Urich, another influencer who's actually based in Austin, I believe, she made
Yes.
that infamous, I hate that little ginger bitch. I hate her, which is like a hilarious sound. Uh, but yeah, like a bunch of people had a lot of thoughts on this situation. As for the relationship today, I feel like people still don't really love Reed because of everything that happened and kind of want better for Halley, including myself. There was also allegedly a huge fight that Halley and Reed had in front of a CVS
Oh yeah.
last year, and there were witnesses saying they were screaming at each other. Uh, who knows? She addressed this and basically was like, we were having a conversation. It's so weird that people are like observing us. And it's like, that must be so wild to be someone who like, you're just a normal person who starts posting on TikTok and now like you get spotted in the wild like a celebrity.
It's so weird.
I actually saw Hallie. That reminds me. It was like actually in front of a CVS,
Oh my
the
God.
CVS on Houston Street. It was back when I lived downtown, like last summer. And she was taller than I thought. She's like 5'7".
Oh
I
yeah,
re-
she looks like short for some reason.
yeah, she does. And I remember being very, and I've seen other people say that too. Like I was very surprised at how tall she was in person, but very pretty. So as for Jazz's now husband Kevin, they're more the it couple compared to Reed and Hallie. So around the time Hallie and Reed start dating, Jazz also gets a boyfriend because they're best friends, and that's what, you know, best friends do.
Naturally.
They were like, we're retiring our single girl, party girl eras. I miss that era for them. Like I thought it was so much fun. But basically she even admitted that she started dating Kevin because her best friend got a boyfriend, which is funny. So they're a little bit, I would say, a little bit codependent.
Yeah.
So they met through Acquired Style, aka Bridget Felung's now fiance. He went to college with her
Kevin.
fiance. Kevin and her fiance went to college together. So a lot of the snark on Jazz and Kevin is that Jazz seems to be like the breadwinner. It's not entirely clear exactly what Kevin does. He is not really the public figure here, so it's not like super important. But basically it people get the impression that Jazz pays for literally everything. He moved into Jazz's apartment very quickly into them dating. Uh and definitely seems like kind of the breadwinner, but they seem like it works for them. They seem very happy, like they have a good relationship. They ended up getting engaged after about a year together. And a lot of people were like, oh my God, I can't believe Jazz and uh, Kevin are engaged before Bridget and her fiance because they had been together since college.
Yeah.
Uh, but when you know, you know. And something that's interesting that Jazz did is that she upgraded her engagement ring very shortly after getting engaged. She originally just had a solitaire oval diamond and ended up adding a pair. So did that like toi et moi kind of look? Is that what you call it? Hold on, let me fact check myself. Toi et
While you're
moi
looking
ring.
at
Yeah.
that, this reminds me of Ashley Hesseltine from Girls Gotta Eat when she was proposed to with a ruby ring, and then
Yes.
she made her fiance go back and like change the entire thing. And everyone, it's the same thing with Ashley Hesseltine. They're like, she's clearly the breadwinner. She makes far more money. Her fiance, per LinkedIn, is like a customer support person at Tesla, which is not a bad job. Just compared to Ashley, she clearly is the breadwinner. Seems to be the same case in Jazz's situation. And I think this is interesting because in society, we're taught that women should be the ones like chilling at home and men should be the breadwinner. I would say more often than not, that probably is the case just in many heterosexual relationships. But I do know a couple people, a couple women um, that are making far more money than their husbands.
Same, same.
Yeah. And I think it's simply based on preference. It's not a bad thing. It's great if a woman is okay with that type of
Yeah.
dynamic in relationship.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing wrong with it. I feel like a lot of men, because of the patriarchy, are like, that's emasculating. Like a lot of men want to be the breadwinner, but then, I think in Kevin's case, he's like, I am happy for my very successful wife. Let her take care of me. Like, that's fine. We obviously don't know the ins and outs of their financial relationship. That is just what people have observed from their very extensive social media footprint. What are your thoughts on people? So basically, like you said, similarly to Ashley from Girls Gotta Eat, Jaz received a ring that wasn't exactly what she wanted based on her income. What do you think of people changing their engagement rings?
I think if the woman has to wear it, it should be up to her to decide like how she wants to modify
Yeah,
it.
that's
But
fair.
I do think it kind of calls into question the communication ahead of time. I feel like with something as important as a piece of jewelry that the woman is expected to wear day in and day out, she should have the most say in it. So to
Hmm.
me, it just speaks on like maybe perhaps a communication gap, especially if your fiance is as much in the public eye as Ashley and Jaz are. You know that part of their brand is going to be their ring. Like, I'm sorry, that's just how it is. People are going to judge the ring. The woman should have more so of a say than they ever would.
Yeah, I completely agree. Uh, but I think it's kind of interesting how I feel like you said, the communication, like where was the communication before the ring was picked out? Or maybe, I mean, again, it's different for everyone. Some people like to be surprised.
Could
I don't,
never be me. Oh my God,
yeah,
don't fucking
same.
surprise me.
Oh my God, same. I was like heavily involved with what my ring was going to look like before Henry proposed, which is how I
Yes.
wanted it. But yeah, it's different for everyone. I agree though. If the woman is wearing it every day, especially if she's on social media and that's, appearances are important for her, then okay. I personally do not like what Jazz did to her ring.
No.
I think Twy Moi rings sometimes work, but then oftentimes don't.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
like it, but it's not my
but
style.
yeah, she basically said, Kevin got me the pair for my birthday. And it was actually Kevin that got it for me to kind of like keep making it seem like it was like all Kevin, even though I highly doubt that.
Yeah,
Uh,
no.
so Hallie was Jazz's maid of honor. And yeah, I mean, they only met a few years ago through social media. So I think some people were like, yeah, that makes sense. They're best friends. They do everything together. At the same time, she's not one of her like lifelong Alaska friends. And she also had a lot of her wedding party was, people that we don't see on social media,
Mm,
non-influencers. But it definitely makes sense that Hallie was maid of honor. Again, they are
yeah.
attached to the hip, borderline codependent. So Jazz's wedding was kind of like the influencer Met Gala. It was like the royal wedding for influencers. Like every who's who of influencers was there. It took place at Oheka Castle. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Sorry. Where Taylor Swift filmed her music video for Blank Space. And people on Reddit have speculated that her wedding probably cost around the $400,000 mark, maybe even more than that, maybe up to 500,000, which is crazy. And so there is a possibility that Jazz got discounts from her vendors for shouting them out on social media,
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
which is
It's free
which is
marketing.
it's definitely possible. I don't think that 100% of their wedding vendors were sponsored
Oh,
because
agreed. Agreed.
Because for things like florals are so expensive. Like I know for a fact that like a floral company is like, I don't give a fuck about your social media posts. Like we need money for
Yeah.
florals. Like there are certain vendors where I'm like, I feel like she definitely paid for them.
Yeah.
As they should. Like I think people should be paid for their labor. Like someone like a photographer, a wedding photographer is on their feet for 12 hours that day. Like for them to not be paid for their labor by someone who can clearly afford it is like unethical to me. Um, it's unclear exactly how much they paid for their wedding. It's not really our business, but people have speculated that it was very, very, very expensive. And, you know, there were, like I said, the who's who of influencers: Brand Flakes, Remy Bader, the Acquired Twins, Kit Keenan, Hallie Batchelder, et cetera, et cetera. Um, I was interested also. We just talked about this last week on Dark Energy Tuesday when guests are required to follow a dress code. Her entire wedding, just every guest at the wedding wore black, which I personally didn't love. I was like,
That
it looks like a funeral.
didn't the bar, Bridget from the bar, didn't she kind of have that same kind of aesthetic at her wedding? I could be totally wrong.
I
Um,
don't remember. I remember her wedding being very beautiful. I don't remember her guests having to follow a dress code. I could be
yeah.
wrong. Other than, you know, the classic black tie. I don't think she gave directions on a color. I remember her bridesmaid dresses were actually light pink, the bar dresses. So
Yeah,
I
you're
don't
right.
think so. Um,
No, sorry, I misspoke. Her wedding was stunning though. Oh my God.
it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like I don't want to yuck someone's yum. Like everyone's wedding choices are so personal. I just was like, what do you mean? They're all wearing black. Like when during the ceremony, uh, it literally looks like a funeral. And also, she actually, I know there's been a lot of discussion because of recent events about Etsy witches. She mentioned hiring an Etsy witch to get good weather for her wedding day. And she did get good weather for her wedding day. So people were like, oh my God, who is your Etsy witch?
Uh-huh. It's funny.
Um, so not only did Jaz pay for this very, very, very expensive wedding in 1 year, she bought a house that she is currently renovating with her husband. She bought a car. She bought a boat. She's just spending all of this money. It's been speculated, and this is pure speculation,
Hmm.
purely alleged, because she's successful on social media, but like, that's a lot of fucking money.
Dude.
That's a crazy amount of money. That's a crazy amount of things to buy in the span of, you know, less than 12 months.
I keep
Actually, it's like
yeah.
less than 6 months. And people have speculated that she lives beyond her means.
It's like Shannon
Um,
Ford.
yeah, that she definitely spends more than she is bringing in. Maybe there's credit card debt there. Also, you know, Hallie and Jaz have talked about how Jaz loves the casino. Like
That's funny.
she likes to gamble a lot. Like
Yeah, that's
she just is
hilarious.
throwing around money. So I hope it lasts forever for them. You never know. But yeah, she may be spending beyond her means. She also, like Hallie, has been open about the work that she's had done. She's been open about getting a boob job. And Hallie, actually, there's been speculation that she has gotten a boob job, not that it's anyone's business. She denies it. And I actually believe her because she is very open about the procedures that she's had done, which I think is actually very, very, very important in this day and age, in this age of social media, where, you know, the filters and the photoshopping and the plastic surgery.
Yeah, and I think just to quickly touch on Jazz's spending habits, I think we all forget your wealth is your income minus your spending slash expenses equals your wealth, right? So just because people are spending exorbitantly does not mean that equals wealth. In fact,
Mhm.
that's why I always say money talks. Whatever you see, the cars that people are driving, the clothes that they're wearing, that's their spending. That's not their wealth. So before we all think that these people are super wealthy, yeah, they have a lot of nice things, but like, what do they actually have saved for their retirement? What are they sitting on in terms of like investments in cash? Like, this money, it's not real wealth. Like, and again,
Mhm.
I don't know her wealth or what. I'm just saying in general, we
Yeah.
have to remember that these influencers, they may come off as wealthy, but that's just their spend.
Yeah, exactly. I think that that's really important to remember. Again, in the age of social media where it feels like everyone has the newest like Chanel bag that costs $4,000. It's like,
Yeah.
don't compare yourself because these people are probably in massive amounts of credit card
Yes.
debt, even
Yes.
the very successful
Yes.
influencers who look like they have all the money in the world.
Yes. It's
Uh
fake. It's all
yeah.
fake. I promise you that.
Yeah. So Hallie, for her part, I feel like she's always been very pretty. She's always had kind of like this baby face look to her. And I mean that as a compliment. Like I feel like she's pretty, she's youthful looking. But you know, she has been honest, like I said, about getting chin lipo. Probably because of that man nips calling her moon face for all of those years.
Wild. Yeah.
Um, she now, has lip fillers and Botox, and she's so young to be getting all of this work done. I I don't know. It's like you're so young, you have such a beautiful natural face. It's one of those things that like makes me sad, but it's like her choice. And again, if she's being honest about it, like who am I to judge? It's her body, her choice.
Yeah. You know what? When we were talking about Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, Rachel McAdams plays Margaret's mother in the movie. Rachel McAdams is a perfect example of someone who is, and if she's gotten anything done, it's not a lot.
It's subtle.
Very subtle. The way that she is aged, I don't even like to say aged gracefully because that just insinuates that she looks old. Like she looks fucking incredible.
Hmm.
And I think we have forgotten as a society that the more Botox and filler that you get, I'm telling you, it actually fucking ages you. So many people I know in my life that have not gotten anything, they actually look more young than the people that have gotten like Real Housewives of Miami type of work. Like it's
Yeah.
a different type of age. It just shows that you're trying to look young, but you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, and it does not look good. And unfortunately for Hallie, she's still very pretty. She's a stunning girl, but yeah, she just looks older simply because of the cosmetic enhancements that she's
Hmm.
gotten like over her years.
Yeah. Yep. That's why I will say, of course, like the subtle, I'm sure I would bet my life on the fact that Rachel McAdams has had stuff done, at the very least, Botox and
Yes.
like subtle fillers. But for the most part, like not touching your face is the way to go, in my
Yes.
opinion.
I agree. I completely agree.
And so sometimes not having money for those procedures is actually a good thing
Yes.
because you can see how people with too much money to throw around on cosmetic procedures can easily take it too far. I mean, like, look at Kylie Jenner, you
Yeah.
know? Okay, so Jaz, I actually didn't know this until I started doing, research for this episode. Jaz had a feud with Kate Mackz, who we talked
Yeah.
about a couple of months ago because she does running interviews on her show, on her podcast, Post Run High. And she interviewed White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt in something that was clearly like a PR interview. And people were like, why are you doing PR for like this very terrible presidential administration? So she got a lot of backlash for that. And Jaz, as a Black woman, has been very outspoken about being anti-Trump. She's very outspoken about politics in general. I think definitely more so than Carly and Hallie.
Yeah.
Uh, but Jaz, in the midst of all this backlash that Kate was getting, Jaz talked about her feud that she had with her. A couple years ago, Kate posted a video after an influencer event and talked about meeting some influencer girls that were really mean. And everyone was tagging Jaz, thinking it was Jaz. And Jaz was like, I wasn't at this event at all. So she went to the video and started replying to the people and being like, I wasn't at this event. Like, it wasn't me. This
Mm.
isn't about me. Like, don't slander my name. And Kate deleted all of her comments. So it kept looking like Jaz was the mean girl in this scenario. And
Yeah.
Jaz got shit for days because of it.
I mean, that's kind of fucked up of Kate that she's just perpetuating these rumors. And listen, they probably do have beef if that's what she was doing, but you don't need to perpetuate that beef publicly by deleting all the comments,
Yeah.
right? That's weird.
It's so weird. So weird.
Yeah, deleting Jazz's comments defending herself. That's like you're promoting the hate towards Jazz.
Yeah, exactly. You're like perpetuating this lie.
Yeah.
So bizarre. So, as for Hallie's recent drama, which we recently touched on, and again, I just want to make it clear that like it is not her prerogative. Like she is not entitled. We are not entitled to her medical information. She can share what she wants to share,
Yeah,
set
we don't
whatever
care about
boundaries
that.
she
Let's
wants.
yeah.
It was the fact people were snarking on the fact, including us, that she posted so many videos in a row of her at the hospital, but then saying, "Please don't ask me anything. Please,
Please no pictures.
I don't owe you anything." Like she would say, "Life update if you were wondering, I'm in the hospital," and then say PSA, I don't owe anyone anything. And people were like, "Well, what are you trying to get out of this? Like what?"
Yeah.
Um, and she ultimately, shared uh like we said, ulcerative colitis. And of course, we had one of our baby snarks reply and say ulcerative colitis is a very, very, very terrible condition. It's also kind of embarrassing. And it's just like
Yes.
I fully understand why she didn't want to go public with it, which is totally, totally understandable.
Agreed.
Um, I think it speaks to, and we were talking to Rachel about this also, our social manager, because she is a Gen Z that follows Hallie and Jaz really closely. And she was like, it kind of like like, I understand why she wouldn't want to disclose her personal medical details, obviously, of course.
Yeah.
But she says it kind of speaks to a larger trend of how influencers will like post something online and like be mysterious about it. And then when they get questions, they're like, I don't owe you anything. And it's like, what? Like, we didn't ask. Like, you were the one that brought it up, you know?
Yeah. Your whole job is to share your life, and you are totally entitled to privacy. And because of that, you have to kind of pick and choose what you want to show to the public and not. You are entitled to the privacy, but you're also entitled to not share those photos of you in the
Yeah,
hospital
like,
without raising concern.
yeah, like no one is forcing you to share anything at all, you
No.
know? Someone, Bentley Liz on Twitter, posted, God, I love influencers. And it was a screenshot of all of the videos of Halley in the hospital crying and saying, I just got my upgraded to my new hospital room. And then her post saying, PSA, I don't owe you my entire medical breakdown, heart.
That goes without
Which,
saying. Of course you don't.
yeah, which she doesn't. She doesn't. But
Right.
then again, it's like, okay, but you're posting endless hospital content, people are going to be
Yeah.
curious.
Right.
But again, she doesn't owe anyone anything. And I think that when it comes to Halley and Jaz, I would say, but I think probably mostly Halley, I think that she like lacks boundaries in general
Mm.
with her social media audience. I feel like she feels the need to share everything when she really doesn't. Um, I don't know. It's like this complicated thing with a lot of these influencers, It's like you have this parasocial relationship with your followers. Is it really healthy for you to be posting this much all the time? Because she posts incessantly, which is why I'm sure it's hard for her to not post herself in the hospital. It's like, is that the healthiest thing? Like, I don't know. Like, can it last forever? Is it sustainable? Like, how do you not get burnt out of constantly oversharing with your followers?
Yeah, I think there probably comes a point where something insane happens and they realize that their privacy is something that should be highly valued. And I think it's going to take probably Hallie experiencing, and frankly, all influencers in general, to experience it for themselves, something really drastic for them to be like, okay, I probably need to take my privacy more seriously. But until that happens, you just assume it's just part of the job and that
Yeah.
you have to continue sharing this because your followers want to see it.
Yeah, exactly. And Hallie, I'm just looking at her TikTok right now. She posts at least 2 TikToks a day, sometimes 3, sometimes 4. So,
Wow.
and that's just what like a lot of these influencers do. It's just crazy. But again, her followers are very parasocial with her because she feels like a friend. And she has that very like girl next door persona where she's just easy to talk to, seems really funny and normal and down to earth. She's not a
Yeah.
nepo baby. She also got a lot of sympathy from the whole like Sophia and Reed thing, where a lot of people were like, wow, I hadn't heard of her until this drama, but like I feel really bad for her and now I like her. And so a lot of people have started following her since then. She now has 1.5 million followers. Jaz, for her part, has she has, let me see, 546,000 followers at
Wow.
recording on TikTok, at least. That's not counting Instagram. They're way bigger on TikTok. And Jaz also got a lot of followers from her wedding, but even before that, she was, I think, getting a lot of she built her following from being like Hallie, very down to earth and normal. She would
Yeah.
post her McDonald's order and like just like always getting fast food and just like being like, someone that you feel like is your friend,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah. There's this relatability element to both of them. They don't have this. I hate to bring up Paige Lorenz, but do you know what I mean? Paige Lorenz has almost this like level of like, um, she's like almost too, she's
It's
too AI.
aspirational.
Yeah, she's too AI generated, bro. You don't feel like you can relate to
Yeah.
her whatsoever. But with Hallie and Jazz, they seem like they could be your friends, which I'm sure is what gravitates a lot of people towards them.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like even from how much they were snarked on by man nips on Reddit, that turned a lot of people into fans too.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know how to pronounce this, but just from Reddit, Jacka OJWBQIS on Reddit wrote a comment that says, I quite literally did not know this girl beyond the buzz around her breakup and that being punch thing, and the sub has made a fan out of me. She actually seems very nice and down to earth with a good head on her shoulders. The girl's biggest crime is having too much filler and oversharing about her boyfriends, now the haters of ammunition. She actually responds to things quite well and seems like she would be nice IRL. Um, Says that it seems like Halley has a nice family and just grew up like, in pretty normal, humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Uh, Willing underscore sky underscore 1138 on Reddit says, I have a lot of horrible things to say about a lot of influencers that I've met. Kit Keenan is the devil incarnate. That's
I could
funny.
see that. She scares me.
Yeah. And also an example of a Nepo baby. She's Cynthia Rowley, the fashion designer's daughter. But
Yeah.
Halley actually seems normal. I think her filler is genuinely atrocious, but she seems like a good hearted person. So that's kind of, I feel like, the consensus for the most part on Halley and Jaz. They have their like face palm moments, but for the most part, they're pretty harmless, I would say.
Yeah, I'm like gonna follow both of them. They seem fine. Like they don't seem problematic or mean. They're just normal girls that are understandably under the pressures of being a woman in New York City and having the
Hmm.
New York City influencer stamp like on your forehead. Like there's a lot of pressure there. So I think they're handling it pretty well and with grace, and they're still very young. I mean, Hallie's like
Hmm.
25. Jazz is a little older. She's 28, but they're still really young.
Yeah, definitely. Let us know, you guys, if there's anything about Halley and Jaz that we may have missed, but I feel like that pretty much covers it. So, yeah, let us know in general. What are your thoughts on the two? Did you even know about them before this episode? We're curious. So, you know where to find us. We are at SnarkBaitPod on Instagram. I'm at Soph underscore Ross. Christy is at Christy Noel underscore underscore. Please leave us a 5-star rating and review if you enjoyed this episode. And also, we have Patreon bonus episodes every Wednesday at patreon.com/snarkbaitpod. So we're also there if you want more. And thank you to Jordan, our producer, Rachel, our social manager, and Olivia, our researcher. And thank you so much for listening. We love you.
Yeah, Nepo Babies was on Patreon yesterday, so head on over there. We also did a Soul Cycle deep dive last Wednesday. So, and we have a very much anticipated duo of girls podcasters that has been much requested that'll drop on Patreon next week as well. So head on over there. Thank you so much. We love you guys. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.